Here's the thing. I haven't always been what I would consider a good person. I used to have no understanding of my own brain, my own mental health. I would put my issues onto other people, so I would blame people for my problems. I didn't understand that when I was feeling triggered, that it was things coming up from my past, and even if people were upsetting me in that moment, it didn't necessarily mean that they were doing it on purpose. But I didn't understand that. I was a very angry person. I was very quick to snap, yell, all of those things. And for a long time, I didn't understand why everyone was so hard to deal with. It's taken me many years to realize that because of things that happened in my childhood, the way I was treated growing up, with one parent in particular who had no understanding of themselves, because of all of that, I acted the way that I did. And so now I have a lot of feelings of guilt and shame for the way that I treated people and the way that I acted in the past. I wasn't nice. I struggled with friendships. I couldn't keep consistent friendships because I didn't know how to deal with any form of conflict. There were just a lot of things that I didn't know how to handle. And so, yeah, I would shut myself off from people because that made my life easier. But as I've made it a bit of a goal for this year to get out there and make some real friendships, I've had to just come to terms with who I used to be and who I am now. And you've probably heard it before, but you know, if you can look back and you do feel a bit of regret or shame, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just shows that you've matured and grown up, and you know that you wouldn't necessarily act that way now. I've done a lot of work on understanding what triggers me and upsets me. I don't like feeling left out. I don't like feeling like people don't understand me or they're not listening to me. And that comes in a lot of different forms. So it could be like being interrupted, being completely misinterpreted, or, you know, someone misinterpreting my intentions. There's a whole string of things, and going forward I have to remember these things when I'm trying to make new friendships and understand that it's not necessarily the other person intending to hurt me. It's just that I've got these unhealed wounds that still pop up from time to time. And just being aware of that really helps, because it stopped me from getting so angry. It's allowed me to be a lot more calm overall. It takes a lot to get me angry these days, because if something happens, I can kind of just go, okay, what's coming up for me? What emotions am I feeling? I'm feeling hurt. And I can't remember if I've said this in another video, but a good thing that helps me is, instead of saying, this person has hurt me, it's, I am feeling hurt by this person. And so that in itself is very good. But sometimes it does start to feel like you're the problem. So you've got to be careful not to, when you're shifting the blame off the other person and sort of reflecting on why it's upsetting you, you've got to be careful not to make yourself feel worse, like you just can't handle any of these things. You've got to be really kind to yourself. And even if you are upset and you're saying, well, I'm feeling upset by this person, you need to ask yourself why and understand that it's okay to feel that way and it's valid. And you can take all the time that you need to calm down and reflect on that. And it can actually save friendships and it can stop you from withdrawing if you just take a minute and remove yourself from the situation. Because here's the thing that I've had to realize. Most people in this world are not evil. They're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to upset you and trigger you. Most people don't even know what your triggers are. And if you remember that, you will realize that there is good in the world and there is a lot of benefit from taking the time and not giving up on people because of your own hurt. I feel that I have really hurt some people in the past, and I know now that it's just because I had no ability to deal with my own emotions. I didn't know how to deal with other people's emotions, especially big emotions. Sort of through high school and probably into uni were the worst times. But I also had a lot of problems with, trying to fit in and never feeling like I did. And I didn't have the social skills to make friends. And because of these triggers that were everywhere for me, it made it even harder. And if you are someone that I know in real life and I've hurt you in some way, I just want you to know that I am aware of my behavior and I have spent a lot of time regretting some of these behaviors, but just know that moving forward, I'm not acting like that. I am such a different person than I was back then. And I treat people with a whole lot more respect than I did back in the day. And and I have had people tell me that I'm quite a kind, genuine person, and I try to remember that when I feel like I'm just a crappy person. And we were all so young back then as well, and it would be impossible to just expect us to know how to act maturely if we haven't even been raised by mature adults. There will always be slip-ups and times where I don't quite get it right. I might say something that is hurtful in that moment because obviously it's very hard to rewire your brain. But I think it's important to remember that as long as you're making a really conscious effort to treat people with respect even if you have those little slip-ups, then that's incredible, because a lot of people don't even bother. They don't take the time to understand themselves. They don't learn about their mind and how their past contributes to their present. So if you're doing any of that work, yeah, you're doing so much more than a lot of people, and that's what I have to tell myself. Anyway, thanks for watching.